I need to tell my story. I need others to hear it, because right now I feel like I have no one else to tell it to. On May 23rd, 2022 at 5:32 a.m., I found out my wife was cheating on me. Every morning before work, I kissed my wife and told her I loved her. This morning she was snoring loudly in bed. She was drunk and didn't get home until around 3 a.m. This had been a trend lately, a trend I accepted, because I knew she needed communication. I trusted her and didn't want to smother her. I didn't like that she did it, but I thought that as a good husband I should allow it, because she told me she needed it. I've been working more lately, a lot more. There was more work and we wanted to build a dream home together, a home that had been delayed for years due to permits and complications. I wanted us to be financially secure during these tough times. I knew my wife was lonely, but we had plans for the future. We had a honeymoon planned, and I thought more time with her friends would be enough for the short term. When I walked into the bedroom, I saw her phone on the edge of the bed. I knew her password, and I wanted to check it. I wanted to make sure my suspicions were wrong, that I was being paranoid, and most importantly, that I was wrong to think my wife would cheat on me. I picked up the phone and looked through her messages. It only took a few texts to see that something was going on, that I was being cheated on. I put the phone back where I found it, had no idea how to react and left the house, drove to work. I cried the whole way. I thought about driving the car into a ditch but didn't, got to work and worked. A little later, I received the daily text I always get from my wife, that she thinks I'm handsome, that she loves me. I didn't want to deal with it at all and I didn't want to start it over text, so I texted back and then cried some more in the bathroom at work. In the middle of the day, I got an anonymous text message, someone confirming what I already knew. My wife was cheating on me. They didn't want to be involved, but cared enough to let me know. It hurt so much knowing that other people already knew. It was pretty blatant, and I didn't know right away. I still don't know who sent that text, but I'm grateful that someone cared enough about me or the sanctity of marriage to let me know. It felt like forever until the end of the day, but it did. I cried all the way home again. My wife was at our neighbour's drinking and having a good time. I drove to where we lived and texted her to come home. I remember her coming to the front door so vividly. She was fine, there was no pain, and I knew everything in our lives was about to change. I told my wife I got a disturbing text message today, asked her if she was cheating on me, showing her the message on my phone. She looked straight at me and said, "No." She wanted to know who sent the message, but I didn't know either. I then asked her to look at her phone. She gave it to me without asking and asked me, "You don't trust me?" "I would never do that to you," she asked me. "Do you really think I would cheat on you?" All the while shaking her head in disbelief that I didn't trust her. My heart sank even more when I looked at her phone. She had deleted all the incriminating messages. There was a brief moment where I believed her. Was I under some delusion that I had seen those messages before? Was I a bad husband for going through her phone? I knew I wasn't making it up. I looked at her and told her I had read her phone this morning, that she had deleted the texts and that I knew something was going on. She told me that something was going on, that her roommate had kissed her, and that she didn't want to tell me because she didn't want a small mistake to become a big deal. I knew there was more to it than that from the texts I read. I wanted to leave right away. I wanted to grab my bag and go to my parents. I wanted to be with someone who cared and loved me, but I was in shock. She lied straight to my face. She tried to shift the blame onto me, and if I didn't already know the truth, she would have made me feel like a bad partner. I think she would have been fine with that. We started talking and agreed that we should talk more about this. We'd been together for almost 2 decades now. It was a lot to give up. Between tears, we both talked about the problems we were going through. We cried. We held each other and talked more about some of the flaws in our relationship. The decrease in intimacy, not prioritizing each other and not wanting to feel needed. There were so many issues, and honestly, it was good to hear them out loud. It was good because they were so manageable, but it wasn't about cheating and lying. I took the next day off so we could talk more. When my wife decided that she would start hanging out with our neighbours on her own, we had a frank and direct conversation. I warned her that men often lack any form of female attention, and showing interest in them, even in a friendly way, could quickly lead to unfriendly feelings on his or her part. We both discussed that if any boundaries were crossed, she would let me know right away and end this friendly relationship before it turned into something that could ruin our relationship. And I believed her at that moment. We had discussed many times what could break our love, what could ruin our marriage, and we agreed that the only option was cheating. She did it knowingly. Then she began to tell me more about the events that had been going on for weeks, that it wasn't just her kissing him, but her involvement in the whole thing. She told me that she had told him many times that it was wrong, but that it hadn't stopped her from coming back. She told me there was no sex or anything below the belt, and she told me she broke up with him on May 20th. My heart sank again because they were still sending dirty texts early in the morning on the 23rd. Every time she retold the story, it got worse. Knowing that we had been so open with each other for the last 24 hours and she was still lying to me, I broke down again. I cried more, but still wasn't ready to let it go. I tried to go to work the next day, but when I got there, I had to leave. I couldn't look anyone in the face without starting to cry. I told my boss I needed to leave and that I needed the rest of the week off. He gave me the day off without hesitation. It was the first time I actually thought about ending my life over this, and not just a passing thought. I was in the car. I thought it would be easy to do, but I didn't want to kill myself. I just didn't want to be alive right now. I cried. I said out loud, "I'm dying, and I have no one to talk to, no one to help." And then I drove back to her. We talked more. I told her that I needed to know the full story about her infidelity. It had been going on for weeks. She had brought him to her birthday party that my parents had at their house. She had introduced the man she was cheating on to my parents. This man was one of my distant cousins. My mum was so happy to see him, because it had been years since they had last seen each other. It broke something else in me. It made me feel like she had no remorse for the cheating that had happened, and it meant so little to her that she had brought this man into my family's life. I realized that I couldn't trust her, that I couldn't believe her story, and that frankly she didn't feel too bad about the cheating and lying, that her loneliness and sadness were an excuse for it. It was at this point that I also realized that I was in an abusive relationship. My wife had a rough childhood. She had been cheated on. She had been raped. She had been lied to. It never occurred to me that she could turn into an abuser. But I felt that she did. She had first-hand experience of what it was like to be horrible, and she was able to commit this evil against the person she says she loves more than anything in the world because I wasn't attentive enough, because I didn't make her feel wanted, and because I didn't always make her my top priority. I dove deeper, and old memories came up. When we were in college, she had cheated on me then. There was a pattern now, and I couldn't believe, or know, if there had been any more cheating between then and now. We kept talking, though. We talked about the changes we wanted to make in our lives, how we both wanted to be better people, and exhausted we fell asleep holding each other. We woke up and started kissing. We had sex. I knew it was wrong, but I could tell she wanted to feel intimate. She wanted to feel wanted, and in that moment she wanted me. And despite everything that had happened, I wanted her, and I wanted to give her those feelings. We decided we needed to spend some time apart after this. We had counselling scheduled for the following Monday, but we needed to be apart to think clearly and figure out if we still wanted to be together, if we even wanted the same things in life, and if I could ever get over this. I have almost no close friends, and my parents have always been close to me and my confidants. I said I would stay with them, and I knew she would ask me something at that moment, something I would agree to, not because it would help me in any way, quite the opposite, but something I would need to agree to if our relationship was ever going to have a chance of continuing. She asked me not to talk about the affair with them, and I didn't. I have spoken to my parents, I have not lied to them, but I have not told them the whole truth, and I have been living with them for the last 2 days. Speaking of some of our other big issues, I have found out that I do want children. She is relieved that she does not want to have them. My parents have shown me nothing but love and support. They have loved my wife like a daughter. I did not want them to see her in such a terrible light. The truth is, I love my wife, and despite all this, I would never want to hurt her or have others treat her badly. It is not in my nature. That is why I am writing this. I needed to tell my story to be heard, as I am not ready to tell it to those in my immediate circle. I am still not sure what I am going to do, no matter how obvious all the signs are that point to breaking up with each other, and I am hoping that counselling will help me make a decision. Despite the sadness and pain I feel, I want her to be happy, and maybe I cared, and still care about her happiness more than mine. All my visions of the future always included her. I think that's why it's so hard. I know I'm blinded by my love for her. It's terrible that being so in love is such a bad thing. Writing this has helped me understand and cope with my emotions and feelings. I hope to write more about this, whether privately or publicly. If my experience resonates with you, I'd love to hear yours and sympathise and be there for you. If you've read all of this, thank you for reading. I want to thank everyone here who has reached out to me, commented, and taken the time to provide such thought-provoking advice. Some things I didn't want to hear but needed to hear. I needed this help and didn't know I could get it. Thank you.